Welcome back to Mind Blown.
Walled off within the metropolis of Rome, Vatican metropolis is an impartial city-state that's simply 1/8 the scale of Central Park in New York metropolis, and is the house of the Pope. Nonetheless, the Vatican may confer with the Holy See, which is the Vatican. 5. Exorcisms. With advances within the fields of psychology, neuroscience, and biology, it's exhausting to imagine that exorcisms are nonetheless carried out by the Catholic Church. Nonetheless, in keeping with former exorcist Gabriele Amorth, who apparently carried out 70,000 exorcisms in his workplace within the Vatican, there are around 300 exorcists worldwide and 4 working in Rome. Apart from clergymen performing exorcisms, at the least 2 modern-day popes have carried out exorcisms within the girl named Francesca Fabrizi from the Umbria area of Italy. In the course of the exorcism, she writhed on the bottom and cried out. The Pope mentioned he would say Mass for her the following day, which apparently cured her. 4. Retiring popes. For many popes, it's a job they've till they die. It's a part of Catholic dogma. It will be like a mother or father giving up his or her youngsters. Nonetheless, that doesn't imply they aren't allowed to. It's simply very uncommon that they resign or retire. In truth, over the previous 1,000 years there have been 123 popes, and out of all of them, solely 5 have abdicated. The primary one to resign was Benedict IX, who was one of many youngest popes, and was most likely about 20 when he first sported that tremendous hat. He was additionally the one individual to have served a number of phrases as pope. He was compelled out of the papacy in 1036, however returned simply months later and have become pope once more. Nonetheless, he had an issue: he needed to get married. So he ended up promoting the papacy to the person who grew to become his successor, Pope Gregory VI, in 1045. Nonetheless, Benedict quickly regretted doing that. As a result of it, turned out the lady he needed to marry wasn't fascinated about marrying him. Oops. He was in a position to reclaim the title of Pope in November 1047, however he solely lasted a year earlier than he was excommunicated. The second pope to resign was the person who purchased the papacy, Pope Gregory VI, who stepped down on the urging of the bishops. He denied he did something flawed, however resigned in 1046. The following pope to resign was Pope Celestine V in 1294. He decreed that if the pope needed to resign, then he must be allowed to take action. He did that very factor every week later, after 5 months of being pope. After retiring, he lived like a hermit for 2 years. Sadly, his predecessor was anxious that Celestine may attempt to reclaim the papacy or oppose him, so he had him imprisoned, and he died after 10 months. The following one was Pope Gregory XII in 1415, on the time attributable to a schism within the Catholic Church, which began in 1378. There have been 2 popes, one in Rome, and one in Avignon. Gregory selected to step down in order that the Pope in Avignon may very well be excommunicated and the Catholic Church might get a contemporary begin. The ultimate Pope to resign was Pope Benedict XVI in 2013. He did it citing well-being causes. Nonetheless, there's a conspiracy concept that he was compelled out, or undermined a lot that he was compelled to resign. Proponents of this concept level out that he retired after the Vatican scandal, which was the leaking of paperwork that confirmed Pope Benedict's battle to be extra clear with the general public about issues like clergymen and sexual abuse. However, inside politics thwarted his plans. The Vatican scandal confirmed that Benedict was an ineffectual supervisor and he selected to retire. 3. The Banco Ambrosiano scandal. The Vatican financial institution is formally often known as the Institute for Non-Secular Works, and from 1971 to 1989, the president of the financial institution was Archbishop Paul Marcinkus from Cicero, Illinois. Earlier than that, the 6'4" former rugby participant labored as a bodyguard for Pope Paul VI. Nonetheless, he'd be remembered for a scandal that broke in 1982. The scandal began with the collapse of Banco Ambrosiano, which was one of many greatest personal banks in Italy, with $1.4 billion in debt. Shortly afterwards, Roberto Cavai, who was the final supervisor of the financial institution and pal of Marcinkus, was discovered useless, hanging from a bridge in London, England. Initially it was thought of a suicide, but it surely was later dominated a murder. 5 individuals had been tried in connection to his homicide, however they had been all acquitted. That brings Marcinkus and the Vatican financial institution. It seems that the principal shareholder within the financial institution was the Vatican, and so they had funneled $1 billion from the financial institution into 10 shell corporations. Different rumors that surrounded the scandal was that different shareholders with the financial institution had been concerned in organized crime, and a few had been even members of a secret Masonic lodge. When Italian investigators tried to interview Marcinkus in regards to the scandal, he was very uncooperative. He refused to depart the Vatican, and even refused to reply questions, citing diplomatic immunity. Marcinkus ended up being indicted, however he by no means went to trial as a result of the costs towards him had been dismissed. He continued to go the Vatican financial institution for 7 extra years. The scandal has even led to some conspiracy theories. Probably the most well-known one was used within the plot of Godfather Half 3. And it's that Pope John Paul I used to be assassinated by the Mafia in August 1978. John Paul I used to be Pope for under 33 days in 1978, earlier than he was discovered useless sitting up in mattress. The official reason for demise was a coronary heart assault, however no post-mortem was carried out. In accordance with the conspiracy concept, he was assassinated as a result of he needed to finish the connection between the church and personal financial institution. 2. The Apostolic Penitentiary. Catholic clergymen have some fairly superior powers with regards to granting absolution for committing crimes. This contains forgiving individuals for issues like homicide, or mass murders and even genocide. That's proper, should you're Catholic and also you chop up the household subsequent door and eat them. You can go to a priest and make an apology, and he might forgive you. Not solely that, however, the priest might by no means inform the police. But there are 5 sins which are so grave that clergymen can't absolve them. As a substitute, contained in the Vatican, they have a secret tribunal known as the Apostolic Penitentiary, which seems to be at circumstances involving these sins. The tribunal was established by Pope Alexander III in 1179, and the kind of circumstances that they study has been a secret for a lot of its historical past. Nonetheless, in 2009, the Catholic Church made an enormous step in direction of transparency and revealed the character of those sins. 2 of them may be dedicated by anybody. The primary is desecrating the Eucharist, as a result of Catholics imagine that it's the precise physique and blood of Christ. The second is trying to kill the Pope. The opposite 3 sins can solely be dedicated by a priest, or males making an attempt to grow to be clergymen. One is that if a priest reveals a sin that they hear in confession. Second, they will have intercourse with somebody after which supply confession to their sexual accomplice. Third, a person who desires to be a priest or a deacon can't straight be concerned with an abortion, akin to paying for the process. 1. The Vatican financial institution and Nazi gold. In accordance with the 1946 doc from the Treasury Division, the Vatican could have each held and smuggled Nazi gold throughout world conflict too, regardless of being an impartial entity. The doc, which was delivered to the eye of the public in 1997, mentioned the Vatican financial institution held 200 million francs, which is about $254 million in 2016, for the Nazis. In accordance with a rumor cited within the doc, that cash was later funneled via one thing known as the Vatican pipeline to Argentina and Spain, the place it was given to Nazis who fled prosecution for warfare crimes. The Vatican financial institution additionally apparently funneled cash that was stolen from Serbs and Jews by the Utash, who had been a Nazi puppet regime in Croatia. On the finish of the warfare, the Utash began plundering from the victims of their ethnic cleaning campaigns, after which smuggled 350 million Swiss francs, which is price about $440 million, out of Yugoslavia via the Vatican. The cash was then used to help the murderous Ustash group, whereas they had been in exile. In 2000, a lawsuit was introduced towards the Vatican over this challenge. However, the swimsuit finally failed.
As always, thanks for watching. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and turn on post notification to get your mind blown every day.